What's up, guys? Here we go with another round of installs of electronics from SmartMoto. These are going to be for my 2014 Triumph Daytona 675R. These parts will fit a 2013 all the way up to current. Today we're going to be installing a Servo Exup Eliminator, a O2 sensor block off, and a kickstand eliminator switch. All these parts got to me in about 2 to 3 days from Greece. Once again, SmartMoto's customer service and shipping is just out of this world. 2 to 3 days from Greece. That's a lot quicker than a lot of companies that are based here in the U.S. The quality of these parts is second to none. There's no wires. There's nothing exposed. I've got actually the same piece on my Ducati, which I did a video on quite a while back, and I've had no issues with it. The parts have performed exactly as I expected them to. So these are the ones we're going to be installing today. The tools we're going to need for the installation, these are pretty simple. We're going to need a T-handle or an Allen key with a 5-bit on it for the gas tank bolts up top. We're going to need a zip tie because we're going to want to zip tie this Servo Exup Eliminator somewhere up under the subframe so it doesn't wiggle around and it doesn't get in the way of the suspension. And then we're going to need a small flathead screwdriver just in case some of the OEM plugs don't want to disconnect the way they're supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these parts over to the bike and we'll get started. The bike we're going to be working with today is my 2014 Triumph Daytona 675R S-Link Edition. I've got quite a bit of modifications done to this bike, but the parts that came in, I'm going to go ahead and get these installed, show you guys how to do it, and I'm here to answer any kind of questions you have. Okay guys, so we're going to start out with the Servo Exup Eliminator. I went ahead and found the cable. The cable comes down, there's an aluminum piece right in front of the suspension. Comes off to the right of it, kind of right behind the right side of the frame. But this is the cable that we're looking for. It's got that yellow indentation inside of it. This is what we're going to be blocking off. This is what's going to trigger a check engine light if there's nothing plugged into it and you turn the key on. The bike's going to realize that the Exup motor is no longer plugged in and something's wrong. So if you guys don't know, with a Triumph, if you trigger a check engine light, whether you fix it immediately or not, it's going to stay on after being fixed for 3 heat cycles, cold to hot. So in order to avoid that kind of problem, we're going to go ahead and put the Exup Eliminator in now. We're going to plug it right into this plug, and then we're going to zip tie it up so it stays out of the way from the suspension when the suspension is working. So I'm going to go ahead and get this plugged in. I'll show you what it looks like, but this is the plug that we're looking for. It comes right off this aluminum plate right in front of the exhaust system. Comes off to the right hand side. If you've pulled the exhaust, you should see where it unplugs from the motor, and this plug is just going to plug directly into that, and we're going to zip tie it up so it doesn't make any kind of movements or get in the way of the suspension. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, I've got the cord and I've got the plug in my hand, so we're going to go ahead and plug in the SmartMoto Servo Exup Eliminator, and it's pretty plug and play. All we do is line the grooves up, push in, we hear it click, and now we've got it installed. So this is pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and zip tie it up, and I'll show you how I get it zip tied up in a minute. And then once we're done installing all the parts, we'll do a start of the motor, make sure we have no check engine lights, and we'll test it out from there. But this is basically all it is. It's pretty much plug and play. I'm going to get it zip tied up out of the way, and I'll show you how I get it done, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Alright guys, so I went ahead and got it mounted up. I got a zip tie run through this silver bracket here, and it's just going to hold this in place. I shouldn't have to worry about it again. It's not going to go anywhere. There's nothing that's going to be able to touch. So we should be all set with this piece. So we're going to move on to the kickstand eliminator switch. Okay guys, so for the next 2 pieces we're going to install, we're going to do the kickstand eliminator switch, and then we're going to do the O2 sensor eliminator. First thing we're going to want to do, which I've already done, is pull the 2 5s out of here with the Allen key or the T-handle. Pull those 2 out, and this tank should flip right up, which mine does, and it stays exactly where it needs to. So if yours does that, great, proceed. If it doesn't, find a way to keep it suspended just so you're not pulling on these cables super tight, which I'm definitely not, and also it's not going to fall back and hit your bodywork. Obviously you need this heat removed. Okay, so the first piece we're going to look for is, there's 2 cables, hopefully you can see this. There's 2 cables that come into the side of this wiring harness, and this wiring harness runs up and it's what feeds the ECU. There's 2 smaller cords that are wrapped up. One of them comes off and goes straight down. The other one comes off and kind of goes across. And this is the one that we are looking for. If I can get it from in between, there we go. Okay, this is the O2 sensor block off. And this comes from this side of the bike. It came up through between where this frame mounts here. Once I got it unplugged, this is pretty much where it sits. So we're going to go ahead and get the O2 sensor block off installed in here, get it clipped in, and that's pretty much all we've got to do with it. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we've got our plug. We're going to go ahead and install this. And again, this is a simple plug-and-play installation. So you see the cord comes up from here. It looks like there is a white, 2 black cables, and looks like a red or a pinkish with a brown stripe on it. That will just let you know you're using the right one. And again, we're plug-and-play. We just line up the little notch here with the void there. Clicks, and it's done. And then we can just go ahead and set this right back where it was under these brake lines. And there's nothing here that's going to get in the way of. There's no chance of it getting frayed or cut. So this is good to go here. I'm not going to worry about putting a zip tie on it because there's a lot of wiring here and there's not a whole lot going on. So that's pretty much it for the O2 sensor block off. Everything else you have attached to the exhaust system, including the O2 sensor, you can pull through the bottom of the bike, discard it, save it for labor, do whatever you want to do with it. But that's all there pretty much is for the O2 block off. So now we're going to move on to the kickstand eliminator switch. Then we will button everything up, fire it up, and see where we're at. Okay, so for the third and final piece is the kickstand eliminator switch. Again, we're looking at these 2 wires. This one is the O2 sensor block off that we just did. This other wire that also feeds into the ECU and it heads down. This is the wire we're looking for to eliminate the kickstand. The colors of the wire look like black and looks like black and red. I don't know if you can see that. But black and red, that's pretty much, this is the one we're looking for here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a screwdriver right in the release pin. I'm just going to push down just a little bit, and then it should pop out. So as you can see, I have the screwdriver wedged in the clip itself, and I'm doing this with one hand, so bear with me. And it just came out. So this is the plug that we are going to plug our block off into, and there's the plug right there connected to the kickstand. Now this mod is pretty much going to be for the track only, guys. This really isn't something a street bike is going to really need. I guess it's possible, but necessarily I wouldn't do it because there's not really any way to put the bike down. Track guys, yeah, absolutely. I mean, my race bike doesn't have a kickstand, so this is more for these guys. But this is all we've got. We've got a 2-prong plug. It's a red and black wire and a black wire. So we're going to go ahead and install our kickstand eliminator switch, and then we'll put everything together and fire it up, make sure we have no check engine lights. Okay guys, so for the third and final piece, we're going to go ahead and get the kickstand eliminator switch installed. That's it right there. Just a pretty simple 2-prong cord. We'll plug it in and listen for the click. And we're good to go. So we will tuck this right next to the O2 sensor block off, as you can see there. So they're tucked in, they're out of the way, and now we're going to put the bike back together, fire it up, and test out the kickstand eliminator switch, and then the other two make sure we just don't have any check engine lights. Okay guys, so we got the bike all buttoned back up. We're going to go ahead and fire it up, make sure we have no check engine lights, and see what's what. check engine light would be, and as you can see, we have no check engine light whatsoever. The ABS is just blinking to let me know that it's on, and we're in neutral. So we're gonna let it get up to temp a little bit. Once it does, we'll throw it in gear. I'll readjust the camera, and we'll see that it does not shut off any longer when the kickstand is down and the bike is in gear. Alright, so the bike's nice and warmed up. Now we're going to test the kickstand eliminator switch. First, we're going to put it in gear. Like normal. And nothing. So typically, if this was in first gear and this kickstand went down, the bike would automatically shut off. As you can tell, it's not any longer. So essentially all of this, especially the kickstand itself and this switch all the way up, can be removed. Mostly this is for the track guys, but anybody can do it. And as you can see, we've still got no check engine light. The ABS is going to continue to blink. We have no check engine lights whatsoever, so all the parts that we've installed are working as they're designed to. So we're pretty much good to go. Alright guys, well that's it for the install. As always, SmartMoto delivered. The parts are great. The shipping was fantastic. Customer service was second to none, so I couldn't be happier. The parts I did on the Ducati about a year ago, they've held up great. So any kind of electronics needs you need for stuff like this, I'd highly recommend you go to them. I'll put a link to their website down in the description below. If you have any questions, comments related to the products or how I installed something, please let me know. And until the next time, hit the red line.